68% of MPs in this region failed to get a majority of the votes cast in their area. That's 47 out of 69 MPs. I have to confess, I'm one of them. 9 MPs in this region actually got elected with less than 40% of the votes in their area, with David Mowat having the smallest mandate with a mere 35.8%. But as well as making MPs more democratically accountable, fairer votes will actually help engage people who don't think it's worth voting. Here in Manchester, turnout in Manchester Central at the last general election was a dreadful 44%, 49% in Blakely and Broughton, 50% in Gorton, and 51% in Wythenshawe and Sale East. Even in Manchester Withington, which was very hotly contested, only 60% of people turned out to vote. Fairer votes will make every vote count and encourage participation from people who feel that it's not worthwhile. And that's why I'm saddened that the No to AV campaign have had to resort to negative, shocking and, I have to say, downright deceitful campaigning, all because they've been losing the argument. But then I suppose some of the people backing the No to AV campaign have an awful lot to lose. But while the No to AV campaign is made up of a politically unholy alliance of Tories, Labour dinosaurs and the BNP, the Yes to Fairer Votes campaign is actually a non-party political campaign. But of course, as Liberal Democrats, we're fully backing that campaign. With AV, politicians will have to work harder to get elected. They'll have to work harder to stay elected. And it will decrease that jobs for life culture that permeates the whole of Westminster. But moving to Manchester, I'm delighted that Manchester has been chosen to launch the Fairer Votes campaign, the home of political reform in the UK. It was the site of the Peterloo massacre in 1819, where cavalry charged into a crowd of 80,000 people gathered at a meeting to demand reform of parliamentary representation. It was in Manchester where the Chartists endorsed the national strikes of 1842, which called for the People's Charter to become the law of the land. It was Manchester where Emily Pankhurst, the leader of the suffragette movement, was born and raised. Manchester has a track record of activists challenging the status quo and delivering fairness. And here we go again with the Fairer Votes campaign. It's Manchester that's been the centre of radical reform in Britain in the last 200 years, and that's a fitting place to launch our campaign supporting Fairer Votes. Thank you. As Tim said, we've got a glittering array of talent on the in front of the speaker's chair this morning, and I'd like to now pass on to Sarah Harding from Liberal Youth. Thank you, Sarah.